Welcome to part 3 of my actual play video. My name is Roosevelt Cooper from Golden Acacia Gaming. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate to you how you can use the Mythic Game Master Emulator 2nd edition to play your favorite tabletop role-playing game, either solo or with a group, without needing a game master. In this particular video, I'm going to be playing the brand new 2024 Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. And the character that I'm going to be playing is Kashta Napata. He's a male human paladin at level 1. Where we last left off, Kashta was recruited by a group of adventurers to help them track down some bandits who have been terrorizing the townspeople. They spent 5 hours attempting to find the bandits, and where we last left off, they found some tracks that they believe belong to the bandits. So now we're going to generate a new expected scene for this particular scene. And I'm going to say for the expected scene that we expect that these tracks are going to lead to the bandit camp. So now that I have the expected scene, I am going to roll on the chaos factor. The chaos factor is now down to 3 because up until now, the player characters have been in control. So we're going to go ahead and roll to see if the expected scene happens. All right, so I rolled a 1. So what that means is the expected scene does not happen. And because this is an odd number, we are going to have an altered scene. So an altered scene means that my expected scene is going to happen. However, there is going to be some type of alteration to this scene. All right, so when doing an altered scene in Mythic Game Master Emulator 2nd edition, there are 5 different ways that you can do an altered scene. The first is the most obvious way, and that is whatever is your next expectation of what's going to happen in the scene. So basically, it's going to be your same scene, but basically whatever your next expectation is for what would happen in that particular expected scene. The next option is a tweak. With a tweak, you're just going to take your expected scene and make one slight modification to it. So for example, maybe we find the bandits' campsite, but in addition to finding the bandits' campsite, maybe the campsite is actually inside a dungeon. So now that makes things a lot more interesting. So you could do a tweak that way. You can do a fate question. So you can ask Mythic a question using the fate chart based upon what you think is going to happen in the altered scene. You can roll on the meanings table and see what you could come up with to determine what happens on the altered scene. And then there's a scene adjustment table where you can roll on the table and it will tell you how to adjust the scene. So now I've never used the scene adjustment table before, so I'm going to go ahead and use that right now. So the scene adjustment table is a D10 table, and it basically will give you some ideas of what you can adjust to your expected scene based upon what you roll. So I'm going to go ahead and roll. All right, so I rolled a 5. So it says remove an object. So I am going to be able to have my scene, but in this scene, I'm going to remove an object. So let's say we find the bandits' campsite, but they don't have any tents set up. So I guess they're sleeping in sleeping bags, or they're sleeping on the floor or whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and remove tent as an object. And we're going to say that we find the bandits' campsite. All right, so we find the bandits campsite. And I'm going to say there are 4 bandits at the campsite. Well, actually, even before I do that, let's take this one step further. Let's consult Mythic. Are the bandits at the campsite? Because maybe they're at the campsite, or maybe they might be out doing another robbery and they haven't arrived at the campsite yet. So let's go ahead and consult with Mythic. Are the bandits at the campsite? So we've been searching for about 5 hours. So you figure if we left in the morning, let's say we left at like 6 a.m., 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We're at 11 o'clock in the morning. So I would say it's probably unlikely that the bandits are at the campsite. They're probably out doing another robbery. So we're going to go ahead and say it's unlikely. And now I'm going to roll on the fate chart using the chaos factor of 3 and using unlikely. All right, we rolled a 13. So that is a yes. The bandits are at the campsite. So with the bandits at the campsite, I guess the next question is, do the bandits notice us? Because I did not say that we were sneaking. So do they notice us? I am going to say that that is likely. They probably do notice us. So let's go ahead and roll on the fate chart. All right, we got a 60, so that is a no. They do not notice us. All right, so we have discovered the bandits' campsite, and they do not know that we are here. So I'm going to say that we are going to trigger initiative and trigger combat. And with the combat, I am going to have the party attempt a group stealth check to see if they can get surprise on the bandits. So let's roll for the stealth check first, and then after that, we will roll for initiative. All right, so let's start with our main character, Kashta. His stealth is +0, and he has to roll at disadvantage because he has heavy armor on. So with disadvantage, you are basically going to roll 2 d20s and take the lower of the 2 numbers. All right, so I got a 9 and a 15. So we're going to go ahead and use the 9 for his result. Next, we're going to do Ada. Ada's stealth is going to be +1. And Ada got a nat 20, so she is very stealthy. All right, next we're going to do Jodam. Jodam also has a +1. Jodam has a 15. So Jodam is also very stealthy. And Ada actually gets a 21 because she got a +1 and she rolled a nat 20. And then now finally we're going to do Merrick. Merrick actually has stealth as a skill. So Merrick is going to get +4 for his stealth check. And Merrick rolled an 18 +4. That is a 22. So I'm going to say that this is a success. And I'm going to say that the party is able to get a drop on the bandits. So with that, we're going to stop here. And in the next scene, we are going to go ahead and initiate combat. We will roll for initiative. And then before we roll for initiative, we will test the expected scene and see what happens. So in this case, once again, we are going to take a look at our chaos factor. I will say that the characters were in control here. So we're going to go ahead and reduce the chaos factor to 2. threads list, find bandits. I would say we have found them, but I'm not going to end that thread yet because all we have right now is we know where they're at. Characters list, I'm not going to add any new characters as of yet. Depending upon what happens with this combat, we may be adding the bandits here. So that's what we're going to do. So we will end this here, and then in our next scene, we're going to test the expected scene of combat taking place, and then we'll see if that happens or whether something else is going to happen instead.